Hello beautiful viewers, you're welcome back to the channel once again. This is Odum Business Consults on YouTube, and on TikTok you can follow me at @Francis Odum. Thank you very much for being part of this wonderful community. Now we started working on the project, and we've seen what we are about to design using a programming language like PHP, CSS, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the project that we are working on. We've started working on how to write our first PHP file, how to use PHP to connect to our database, how to create a table or a database in PHP my admin panel. Okay, so we've done a lot, so you need to go back to the channel or the page and look for those videos and watch them if you have not done that yet. Alright, so this is the project that we are working on. It's a database for a clothing shop or a boutique. So what I'm trying to do here is to teach you how to understand certain things in programming, okay, and how to write your own code using any programming language that I am or have used for this particular project. Okay, so to benefit fully, you need to watch this video to the end and look for those previous videos that you've not watched them and do justice to them. Currently we are working on the stocking form. Okay, this is the form that we use to add a new product or update our existing products in our database. So currently this is what we are trying to design. We've started with it, so let's go to our directory folder and look for the file that we are working on. So you just go to your local disk. Okay, so go to your local disk as I've been showing you, then look for XAMPP. You click on that, then inside the XAMPP you look for htdocs. You click that, and inside that we've already created our folder, and the folder that we are working on, the directory folder that we are working or we are using for our project is test_lngn. So if you don't know how to do this, watch the previous videos, especially at the beginning, and you appreciate or you know how to design this or do this. Okay, so I open the directory folder, and inside the directory folder these are the files that we've created. Currently we are on the stocking PHP, so I'll open it with my test editor. The test editor that I'm using is Notepad++. Okay, and I've shown you how to design, I've shown you how to download and install any test editor on your PC, being it Visual Code or Notepad++. Okay, so I'll just open it with the code or the test editor that I'm using. So this way we've gotten to, okay, and I've given an explanation on this and how to write this in a test editor. So we are continuing from where we left the other time. Okay, so now that we are done with this, we want to add, let's say, two variables that is going to hold an error message or a success message when the form is submitted. Okay, So that's what we're going to do next. So as I said, to write a variable, we need to start with a dollar sign. So dollar sign, then the variable for the error message is going to be error. Now you're going to pass the two variables together. Then we're going to use a dollar sign again. Then we write success. Okay, we write success. We're going to assign it to an empty string. Okay, we're going to assign it to empty string. Later in our code, we can pass on the error message or a success message. Okay, so put that one in mind. So this that we've defined over here is saying that it's a variable that is going to hold either an error message or a success message. We have passed an empty string because later in our script we're going to assign an error message or a success message to these variables. As I said initially, in programming, when we say variable, we are talking about a container for holding a data. Okay, so we're going to use these two variables that we've declared over here to hold an error message or a success message later in our script. So just write something like this, and let's move on to the next one that we're going to do. Now, where we've gotten to, typically what we are doing over here is a form, right? This is a form that we are going to provide information on, then we submit it to our database or to the server. Now, in sending a data on the form to the server, then we need to use a data sending method, which is HTTP data sending method. Okay, when you say HTTP, we are talking about hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, it's a set of rules that your browser and the server use to communicate with each other. Okay, now for you to get or to send information to the server using the browser, now there are a set of rules or there are a set of methods that we can use to do that. Okay, so HTTP method are a set of rules that the server and that of the browser use to communicate with each other. And as I said initially, PHP and MySQL database application runs on the server. Okay, it runs on the server, so it means your browser or you, the user, you'll be communicating with the server using certain rules. So over here, the form that will be submitting needs to follow certain rules before it can communicate with the server. So one of the ways that we can send a request or send a data to the server using form is a post method. Okay, so we're gonna write or we're gonna use the HTTP method, which is the set of rules that can be used to send a data to the server. So what we're going to write here is an HTTP data sending method. Okay, so now we're going to use an if statement, a conditional statement. The server needs to know, okay, the type of communication that it is receiving from the browser. We have different types of methods that we need to bear in mind. Okay, we have get method, and what it does is what to request a data from the server. So the server needs to know whether you are requesting a data or you are sending a data. And we have the post. The post is the one that we use. It's a method that we use to send a data to the server, and the other ones we can talk about put or delete later. We will consider all this, but the one that we're going to use now is the post method. Okay, so to send a data, because we are using a form here, so here the form is sending a data, so we need to use the post method. So we need to use a conditional statement because the server needs to know which method that you are using. So the server will check. Okay, the server will check from the browser if it is using the post method or the get method. Okay, so we're going to start with an if statement, then we open brackets, then we write our $sign, have our server, then we open. So the request that, or the method that is using, or the request method, we need to specify over here. So we need to fill the browser that's the requests that we are using. Okay, the server needs to understand the kind of method that you are using. Okay, it is very necessary. You need to put that in mind. So we have this. So the request is a post method, or a post method that we are using. So we have the post, then we close the bracket. So the if statement that we've used over here, so the server will check. Okay, we are using a conditional statement because we said we have so many methods of requesting or sending the data to the server. So the server will check whether the request method is the post one. Okay, if it is the post one, then we should run it according to the post method. Okay, because I said the post method is used to send data to the server, and the get method is used to get a data from the server. Okay, so here the if statement, the server is going to check whether the request method, okay, so here whether the request method is the post or it is the get method. And here, because we are sending an information on the form to the server, we're going to use the post method, which I said it is used to send data to the server. Okay, so this form, the purpose for this form is what is to send information on the form to our database. Okay, so the information, we are sending a data or information to the server. So sending a data to the server, then we need to use the method known as the post. Now if it is a post, then the server is going to run whatever code inside that method. Okay, so here we open our parenthesis, gonna open it, and whatever we write over here, okay, is going to be executed when the form is submitted, because now the server knows that we are sending the data to it, okay, or it is receiving the data from the browser. Okay, so whatever code that we write inside this parenthesis, okay, will be executed when the form is being submitted. Okay, I believe you are getting what I'm trying to put it across. Okay, if you don't understand anything, leave them in the comment section. Alright, we said this is a form that we are sending information on to our database. So if you are sending a data Then there are several methods that we can use to communicate with the server, and you need to use the appropriate method. And the if statement that we use over here is a conditional statement. So if the data being sent or the communication that the browser is having with the server is being made using a post method, then the code inside this method should be executed accordingly. Okay, so the browser will understand that we are rather sending the data to the server. But if you change this post to get, it means we are requesting a data or information from the server, and the code inside it will be executed accordingly. So this is a method that we are using to send information to the server. Okay, so this is how you have to write it, and this is what it meant or it means in our code. So anywhere you see something like this, it means the browser is sending a data to the server, okay, using the post method. And this error message or the success variable that you see over here is a simple thing. We've passed on two variables together. We are saying that later in our script we are going to assign either a success message or an error message to it, so that when the form is submitted and there is an issue with it, it will give a message or to give a feedback to the user. And if it is being done successfully, it also communicates to the user. Okay, that's why we've declared our variable over here. Then we've assigned it to an empty string, because later in our code or in our scripts we will assign a value to it. Okay, so we write it as it is, as you see on the screen, and write this request method as it is or as you see on the screen. Thank you very much for being part of this beautiful community. Yes, if you love what I'm doing and want my community to grow, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel if you have not done that. If you're on TikTok, follow my page. Okay, my TikTok handle is Sir_Francis Odum, and on YouTube is Odum Business Consult. Thank you very much for being part with this wonderful community. If you have any issue, leave them in the comment section. Later or in the upcoming video, we will be adding the scripts or the code that needs to be executed when the server gets to know that we are sending a data to it using a form. See you very soon.